In 2022, a seemingly minor administrative error at Ridgeview County Hospital in Pennsylvania kicked off one of the most unbelievable workplace revenge stories the staff still whisper about today. This isn't a tale of shouting matches or dramatic confrontations. It's about silent, calculated justice, and it centers on a 38-year-old patient coordinator named Laura Bennett. Laura was the kind of employee every workplace needs, but often overlooks. She was quiet, efficient, and never got involved in office drama. Her colleagues had a saying: "If Laura typed it, it's correct. If Laura scheduled it, it will happen on time." For nearly 11 years, she built an unshakable reputation for precision and reliability. Then, Kelly Brooks arrived. Kelly was hired as a junior coordinator, working directly under Laura. On the surface, she was perfect. Always smiling, always eager to help, always saying, "Let me know what I can do." She exuded a kind of easy confidence that managers love. But as Laura would soon discover, confidence can often be a well-crafted mask for something much darker. The first crack appeared a few weeks after Kelly started. A cardiology appointment was double-booked. It was a small, frustrating mistake, but it happens in a busy hospital. A patient complained, and the department head came to Laura. Puzzled, Laura checked the digital logs. The appointment had been changed using her account at 6:28 p.m. the previous evening, but Laura was always out the door by 5 p.m. sharp. A cold, uneasy feeling settled in her stomach. She immediately went to the IT department and asked for a detailed activity log. They confirmed the change was made using her login credentials. Someone had used her account after she had gone home for the day. Laura felt a knot of anxiety tighten. She changed her password, and IT gave her the standard advice: always make sure you completely log out of the system. Don't just lock your screen. 2 weeks later, it happened again. This time, a lab test order was submitted to a patient's insurance company without the necessary pre-approval, causing a denial and a frantic call from the patient. Once again, the system flagged it as Laura's fault. She checked the logs, and there it was, another digital footprint from her account, made long after her workday had ended. Same pattern. Same late evening time window, same unauthorized access. Laura requested security footage, but there was no sign of a forced entry or anyone suspicious lingering around her desk after hours. This meant the person responsible was already inside the building, someone with legitimate access. Her eyes started to drift towards Kelly's desk. Kelly often stayed late. "Just finishing up a few things," she would cheerfully explain if anyone asked. But Laura wasn't the type to make accusations. She didn't raise her voice or start a rumor. Instead, she started a new secret project. She began to quietly, meticulously document everything. She kept a private log of the exact time she left her desk each day. She took screenshots of important files just before logging out. She saved copies of login histories and her requests to IT. She even devised a simple, physical trap. She placed a small, folded sticky note just inside her desk drawer, positioned in a way that it would be disturbed if the drawer was opened. It wasn't for writing. It was a silent witness. One Wednesday morning she came in, glanced at her desk, and her heart skipped a beat. The sticky note was bent out of shape. Someone had opened her drawer. They had been looking for something. The trap had been sprung. What happened next blew the entire scheme wide open. On April 16th, a massive billing error was discovered. A staggering $4,700 charge had been assigned to the wrong patient account. The hospital's financial director was furious, and the fallout was immediate. And when they checked the system logs to see who made the error, the digital trail led straight back to one person. User L. Bennett. Time 7:54 p.m. But Laura had an airtight alibi. She wasn't even in the same town at that time. She had been at a grocery store miles away, and she had the credit card receipts and the store's camera timestamps to prove it. Armed with this definitive proof, she didn't go to her manager. She didn't go to HR. She went straight to the head of IT and asked a single-pointed question. Which physical computer terminal was used to access my account at 7:54 p.m. last night? They traced the IP address. It wasn't Laura's computer. The digital trail led directly to the workstation right next to hers, Kelly's desk. The IT team dug deeper and found something else, a clumsy attempt to delete the access logs, a clear sign of a cover-up by someone who didn't fully understand the system. Even with this smoking gun, Laura didn't celebrate. She didn't march over to Kelly's desk and confront her. She waited. She let her evidence do the talking. The next day, a high-level staff review meeting was called with the hospital director, HR, and all department heads to address the recent string of unacceptable errors. Laura walked in, calm and composed, holding a large, sealed envelope. When the director opened the floor, asking, "Does anyone have anything they need to present?" Laura stood up. "Yes, sir, I do," she said, her voice steady and clear. "I need to show you something that has been happening for the past 3 months." There was no anger in her voice, no drama. She was purely factual, and the cold, hard certainty in her tone sent a chill through the room. She opened the envelope and laid out her case with devastating precision. She presented the login reports showing her account being accessed after hours. She showed the IP trace linking those logins directly to Kelly's computer. She played security camera clips of Kelly at her desk during the times of the breaches. She provided screenshot comparisons, showing the original, correct files she had saved versus the altered versions that caused the errors. She handed them a detailed written timeline of every single incident. She included a signed statement from the IT department verifying the unauthorized access from Kelly's workstation. And for the final irrefutable blow, she presented the copy of her grocery receipt and the store's time-stamped security photo, proving she was physically miles away during the $4,700 billing fraud. The room fell into a stunned silence. The head of HR looked pale. The director's face was like stone. All eyes turned to Kelly, who had begun to visibly shake. I can explain," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. The director cut her off with a sharp, dismissive wave of his hand. "No," he said coldly. "You cannot." The meeting was ended immediately. HR escorted a trembling Kelly out of the building. She wasn't fired on the spot. She was suspended pending a formal investigation, but the outcome was already certain. 2 weeks later, the consequences came down hard. Kelly was terminated for gross misconduct. Her actions were officially recorded as intentional manipulation of hospital systems, a black mark that would follow her for the rest of her career. Her name was added to a healthcare employment blacklist, making it nearly impossible for her to work in the field again. And because the billing error constituted a form of insurance fraud, she was also facing a state audit and potential legal charges. Meanwhile, the hospital issued a formal written apology to Laura. But that wasn't the real victory. The real vindication came quietly, just as her defense had. Laura wasn't looking for revenge. She just wanted her reputation and her dignity back. A few days later, the hospital director called her into his office for a private meeting. "Laura," he said, "we made a mistake. We need someone dependable supervising this department. Someone with integrity. Someone we can trust without question." Laura was promoted to Patient Services Administrator, a significant step up, complete with a substantial raise and her own private office. Her responsibilities expanded, and her reputation, once questioned, was now stronger than ever before. Her co-workers still talk about it. They say, "She didn't scream, she didn't fight, she didn't lose control, she let the truth do the work." And that's what makes the story so powerful, because real revenge, the most effective and devastating kind, is often quiet. It's calm. It's documented, and it's absolutely crushing to the person who thinks they are smart enough to get away with it. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. We'll see you in the next one.